Hello and welcome to Garblag Games. We're playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition, and this is Flint Steel! Hello and welcome back to episode 5 of Flint Steel, the Garblag Games Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay show. I'm Pete the Games Master, and in a minute we'll go round and the guys will tell you who they are, who they're playing, and what they spent their experience points on. But before we do, please don't forget to go and check out our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We've got loads of stuff going on over there. We're sharing lots of things that we're doing. We've got our Discord, where there's a link below, where you can join us for conversations around role-playing, wargaming, and things about Flint and Steel and all other things. We have our Patreon as well. We're on 31 patrons. Everyone who supports us helps to make it a little bit better for everyone else, from the technical equipment for the show, to the books that we have for the games, to various other things, paying for Roger's alcohol, all that stuff. It all goes in there. We've got a new map coming out soon, which is going to be free to everyone. Thanks to our lovely patron, Foot of the Mountain. So keep an eye on the Patreon. There's a Smuggler's Warehouse coming very soon. It's not that one. That's one I've knocked together very quickly. We also... No, that's like a PowerPoint silly thing.
That's a player guide.
Yeah, it's a player guide, not a... Yeah, anyway.
Pete does amazing maps and we all know it.
You're going to have to dub that over.
No, that bit's good. That's fine. Yeah, I just put an image over the top of amazing map. Yes, thank you.
They know.
Yeah, the abandoned tavern. Also, don't forget to go and check out Redbubble. Go on there and put in Garblag Games, and you can see such wonderful merchandise as our abandoned tavern mug. I think Roger's got a Flint and Steel mug over there.
That's really nice.
That is the logo that you can see on the screen below me. The Pencilwright, who you should go and check out, and there's a link below for website, Twitter, and all kinds of things for him. Great artwork, lovely stuff, great logo, and the intro sequence that you've just seen, the animation.
And a very nice guy.
He is a great
Bob's
guy.
Lovely.
Bob is a lovely guy. Thanks, Bob. We also have the big 2018 subscriber giveaway. I'm not going to say too much about that right now, because it could go on for a while, but the more subscribers we get, the better the prize for one lucky winner. There's a few runner-up prizes of PDFs, but the winner could win nearly $200 worth of stuff. Role-playing stuff, maps, Zweihander book, $50 drive-through RPG voucher. Go and check it out. There's a link for that video below that tells you how to enter. But basically, share it. If you're a subscriber already, go and share it with everyone you know. Get as many subscribers as possible. Time of filming, we've got 940. Get to 950, prize goes up. Get to 1,000, it's even bigger. Anyway. We're also going to St Albans Comic Con next year, and we'll be sharing things about that on Facebook, so don't forget to go and like our Facebook page to follow about that as well. Anyway, without further ado, I think we'll go round now and the guys will tell you who they are, who they're playing, and what they've spent their XP on. So we'll begin on my left.
I'm Simon. I'm playing Alvin. I've taken Charm Animal, because that's the last thing I have to take before I can become a black powder wielding maniac, and I don't have to burn things. I can just blow them up.
Oh God!
Roger looks perplexed. I think concern. That was a look of concern.
Yeah, your shield
Charm
might.
Animal
Your shield
sounds a bit.
You're concerned.
Your shield might not help you against a
It probably will, though.
Weapon. Yeah.
It probably will.
It's Bagric. Come on. Bagric is made of steel.
Yeah. Well, that's why I stand behind him.
You're Flint, and he's steel. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm...
And together!
I think you're slicing sausage.
That was
then.
Flint!
No, absolutely.
I quite like salami coming off of slices. I'm Kevin. I'm playing Sigbert, who's, priest and that. And I spent my points mostly on heal, because priests should be able to do that, and I forgot to do it before now. And then some other stuff in willpower in there.
Cool.
I'm Sam. I'm playing Morgan. I'm apparently also a priest.
Got Priest Corner.
Yep, bros. And I did not spend my XP because I am indecisive.
Okay, cool. New to the system as well.
Well, yeah, plus, if I keep it in a big pile, then I can work out what I want later. It's fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Roger. I'm playing Bagric Rolfson, the Dwarf Guard, and I spent my XP on athletics.
Ooh. Cool.
Does that mean you can spin your shield around on one finger?
I could if I wanted to, but that would be a very inefficient use of my shield.
I'm not thinking of Bagric like charging at you. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
just means I'm become even more lethal over short distances.
Did you see me leaping over someone and go, I want to do that?
No.
short distances.
Because he remembers what happened afterwards.
Yeah,
leaped
but
over
Bagric
and went,
was like,
"Oh, fuck,
and
there's
that's
more of them."
why I was cautiously walking forwards.
That's why he bought combat awareness.
And charm animal in case the Fimers would go for that.
No, I'm going to get a new horse, so I need to be nice to it.
There's nothing wrong with your old horse.
It's like Brown.
It's
We
like
have a final member of the team.
Sorry, lads.
No, I'm Lawrence. I'm playing Torvald Rolfson. I'm the Dwarven Scout, and I spent my experience on improving my stealth
Cool.
and improving my agility.
I think you need that, considering what you've been up to.
Yeah.
That's all.
Torvald is also the brains of the operation.
So definitely
Yeah,
brains.
Yes.
Because I know who Rolf was.
Well, we have the brains, the brawns, and the insanity. And of course our priest
The
collection.
heart and the conscience.
Well,
That's the closest thing. Is
I'll
anyone
take it.
else here the
I'll
conscience?
take it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, anyway, so
Be the loins.
last time. You're the loins.
I wanted to be.
Okay, you're the loins.
Clearly,
That's
I'm
fine.
not.
You're the loins.
I
That's
just rolled a
cool.
1. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm done
I
now.
thought you were the little button you pressed when you went boost, 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 power up, power up,
Kevin's
power up,
missed
power up.
being in the studio. I think he missed role playing.
Oh, I'm
Missed being
tired.
Seabert.
I'm so tired.
There's sleepless baby going on. So if Kevin falls asleep in the back, we're just going to leave him there, and we're not going to disturb him.
Time we've got
No.
sugar.
Shout Sigmar
And
on us.
if we get to combat, we'll just nudge him and go, power
Yeah.
up, power up, power
He'll
up.
just wake up and go, "Rah, Sigmar!"
Just be down on the
And
floor
jump.
shouting.
Have you got a match?
Cool. Okay. So last time on Flint and Steel in From Darkness Light, episode 4, our heroes discovered our new party member, Morgan, who was captive in the abandoned tavern, which you can get on the Patreon.
Had the situation totally under control.
Absolutely. Hogtied and gagged in a cupboard with 5
Wasn't
other
in a
prisoners. Well, the whole room was a cupboard. That's basically
It
what
was
that room was.
basically a big cupboard.
Yeah, it's a big cupboard. And you discovered that there were some people captives and that there was some shenanigans going on in the basement. There was a big chaos symbol painted in blood on the floor. There was a collapsed tunnel or wall where maybe a natural cavern had got close to the basement and they'd taken advantage of that to sort of break through. You gathered various amounts of loot and gold, well, not gold,
My
shillings
stuff back.
and gear. Morgan, you found all your stuff. You had a little friend join you occasionally,
Apparently he's
little
Alvin's
raven,
friend.
who
See, nothing wrong with talking to the raven.
No, you got charm animal now.
Yeah.
You can teach him that familiar phrase, you know.
Oh, yes, excellent. Oh dear. Anyway, and so effectively, you gathered all the prisoners. You tried to hunt down whoever had gone through the tunnels, but they had disappeared with little trace. And you realised that you had too much present in the tavern to deal with to sort of wander off into some cavern system under the Black Hills. So you got all the people together, and you discovered that they all come from the nearby village of Armedorf, which is actually the place you're going to. Yeah. Funnily enough,
Which I know nothing about.
which Morgan, unbeknownst to some of the players, the full details, has actually been sent there by his high priest,
Silas.
to go and help with an outbreak of plague, apparently,
It's totally
in
not
the
a plague.
village. And there's seems to be various pressures on this village, as you've sort of found out. It seems that the local area between Dunkelberg and Grisenwald, which are both on the north side of the river, Grisen, which runs through this area, are in Reichland, whereas the village is still in Wiesenland, which is beholden to Null. But no one seems to really give a shit about Armdorf, and the local nobles from Reichland are squeezing it a bit with more taxes, and now there's this plague, and there seems to be various misfortune striking the village. So you sent one of the villagers off with your wagoneers off to Dunkelberg
And
And
Hartwin.
Hartwin.
and Hartwin. I was just about to say that. And you sent Hartwin, Jim, well done, to go and help them get to either the crossing or to Dunkelberg itself. At which point, they will probably send back some goods because they're taking a load of the loot that was found in the
All of the
abandoned
loot,
tavern.
yeah.
All of the loot. And you were taking some of the villagers back to Armedorf itself. And you had just arrived at the village as it was getting dark. There was basically this village is sort of sandwiched between a road and a river. It's kind of where the two things kind of come close to each other. The road kind of heads off through the village. You can't really see from where you are. If you remember last time, there's kind of a low palisade wall around it, and on the inside of that wall there was a kind of less of a sentry tower, more of a hut on stilts, sort of looking down, and someone had opened the gates for you to enter. And when I say gates, that's kind of being, generous. It's like a big wobbly palisade wall that's kind of pulled back through the mud that is the road that leads through Armedorf. And as you head into the village, you can see the smithy, which seems to be one of the larger buildings in the village, sitting on the right side of the road, so away from the river. And on the left side of the road, next to the river, is a large tavern, which you have been told
Cider Alley.
is the Cider Alley. Volkhart's Cider Alley. And is there, sandwiched between various buildings. It's kind of down, there's like a little way to get into the door that you can see. And on your left, between the road and the river, there are sort of small houses, huts, structures. They all look a little bit lean-to, a little bit run down, some of them clearly abandoned. You can see the door hanging open on one and nothing going on inside. On the right-hand side of the road, between the road and the palisade wall, there is an area of huts that have been burnt. And you can see now a controlled burning has happened inside the village wall. And beyond this kind of ring of burning, there is a few small houses where there seems to be light inside them coming through gaps in the walls and the doors, and you can kind of see that going on over there. Near that, there is a small, I wouldn't say church, I would say more of a roadside chapel or altar, little stop-off point, shrine, that's the word. Wooden structure over there, and you can see the symbol of Shallya over there. You can't see a structure. You were told that there was a temple to Verena. You cannot see a temple to Verena as you enter the village. This is a small village. You kind of take it all in one kind of sweep of the camera, as it were. Ahead of you, the road kind of curves round to the right a little bit. There is another gate at the other side, beyond which there is fairly thick woodland. And you can see the river is kind of working between hills. And there are hills off to the right, beyond the palisade wall, covered in trees, and the Griswold forest kind of blanketing around. And it's kind of dark. It's raining a little bit. The road is not a great road. It's kind of sloshy mud, puddles, potholes, few little cobblestones kind of loosely rolling around somewhere. And you kind of enter the town on your wagon with all these people, and the gate gets closed behind you.
What was the tavern like? Can I see that?
Well, from where you are, you can see that there's clearly light on, and there's actually, as you watch, someone walks out of it and sort of walks off towards another building.
Does it look like a decent building?
It looks fairly large. It looks robust. It looks like it was a sort of log cabin style of construction, but big. And as you're kind of rolling into the village, you can see that it actually has a kind of jetty and gangplanks around the side on the river. So the tavern itself actually sits on the river, and maybe people can come directly into there. You were told that Anselma Reinhardt, who is the head of the village, has had to take over the running of the tavern because her husband Volkhart is sick, presumably with plague, and it seems that this structure is it's the most impressive, apart from the smithy. It's the most impressive structure in the village. And, it seems to be the one with the most light. You looking at it, you think, oh, that looks warm, that looks comforting. That would be a nice place to go right now because it's raining, it's a bit shit. There's a load of burnt houses over there. Are those mounds of earth? Sort of 6x4 mounds of earth over there?
Better not be.
You are there. The people who are with you sort of get off and they're like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing us back. But they seem to be very eager to get away into the village, back to their homes, back to their people. And the young lady who was talking to you just earlier on in the day says, Anselma will be running the tavern. I'll come with you and give word to her that you are good people who are here to help, and that you, in fact, have been summoned. Follow me. She kind of seems to be emboldened. She's home. She feels her head is up. She feels a bit stronger. She's survived this encounter with the horrible Fimir creatures and lived to tell the tale. Maybe one day she'll become an adventurer herself. You can kind of see those beginning, the light in her eyes. And she kind of walks towards the tavern and you guys bring the wagon up. Is there anything anyone wants to do before you reach the tavern? You want to look around? Check things out.
Probably best that we make introductions first.
Do that in the morning when it's daylight.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, you arrive at the tavern, and from under a little lean-to, where the rain is kind of pattering off of loose slates, a young lad runs out and goes, oh, cool, blimey, mister. Can I take your horse for you? Can I take your wagon? I'll sort that out for you. He kind of runs over, his bare feet slapping in the mud in the rain.
I'm going to lean over to Alvin and go, not too much gold this time.
Okay. I shall.
That's not.
The word is spread between the urchins on the great urchin grapevine. They all waiting for
Not even that. I just don't
Alvin
want
to arrive.
I don't want all of the children to leave the town with their new sandwiches.
I shall prefer my purse.
The usual tip for an urchin child is probably a penny.
He used to give a gold.
I know. And then they'd run away from the tavern and never be seen again. The tavern had recruitment problems because he kept giving the urchins gold coins.
Yeah.
Is that a D?
You've got.
Yes, that is a D.
Okay.
You've
I
got
will
to
give
have
him.
something in there that's not gold.
How many horses are on the wagon that we're riding?
There's a horse on the wagon, and
And-
you've got another horse.
All right, I will give him 3 pennies.
Oh.
One for the wagon, one for each horse.
Put my.
Oh, thank you,
Tell him to
Master
take
Dwarf.
extra strength.
He looks slightly uncomfortable around you, not in a scared fashion.
In a kind of
not-
he's never seen one before kind of.
Well, you think maybe he has but one or two, but he
Not
doesn't
as
look like
serious as
he's
Bagric.
any animosity towards you. He looks like he's slightly scared of you, and he kind of reaches his hand out.
Take good care of them, lad.
I will. He kind of grabbing the horse in the wagon. It's like,
I'll drive because I'm probably
Bill, come and
driving.
help me.
I'm probably driving the wagon. I'll drive it into
Okay.
wherever and
Cool.
then let him deal with the horses as well.
Okay, so he kind of leads the wagon around the side of the building, and there is an entranceway into a back courtyard with a stable, and then on the other side of that is where the river is. So you've kind of gone down the side of it and in the back. So you do that, and meanwhile,
I'm
the
just
young
going to
lady...
hop down and start walking to the tavern because beer.
There's a large door, good construction. This looks like a sturdy building, and you can hear the sound of people inside as you approach. But it doesn't sound like there's a piano playing and bards singing and everyone happy. You can hear people moving
Somber.
around and
Just
drinking,
general
and slightly
noise.
somber. And as you walk in, there is a quiet in the tavern, common room. And on the far side, there is a bar, and there is a woman who is tall, handsome lady, no nonsense look on her face. She's got sort of stretched back hair, scraped back, and she's wearing an apron, a leather apron, not
A worker's
a
apron.
worker's apron, and she's got strong, powerful arms that are bare up to the apron, but she's wearing some sort of tunic underneath. And she kind of slams something down on the table, and the young lady with you runs across the room and says, "Oh, and Selma, these are the people who are here. When we sent word, these are the people here to help us." And she points at you, Morgan. "This is the priests that we sent for. More be praised. We have salvation. Amazing." And this woman sort of looks you up and down like,
Good evening.
Evening. Yes, thank you. Fetch her some food and some
Stomping up to the bar.
greetings. It's an interesting party that arrives here at our bar.
You got any rooms?
We have space in the common room. A lot of our rooms are being used for the sick. Those who are not yet too sick to be passed over to the tender care of Erhard.
Oh well, I guess I'll dump our stuff in a corner then.
She went missing. Where did you find her?
Found her in an abandoned tavern. Him in an abandoned tavern. No, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, there were. I can't remember.
You say how many there were.
Trouble on the road.
There were many of them.
People have been sort of disappearing and not being found. There's stories of an old village that was nearby, on the road a bit further round.
Aye, that's the one. Towards Nuln.
Yes, aye.
There were some familiar. Not anymore.
She looks at you with the eyes of someone who has fought a Fimir before. Those
Just
creatures.
deadpan.
Those creatures are foul, stinking abominations.
Not anymore. They're dead and burnt.
She kind of looks over all of you, and you've got like various scars.
Yeah,
and
I'm still
cuts and
got like gore on me.
Well, you've been riding
rain.
for a while. You won't have just sat there with
Rain.
gore all over you. You'd have been washed off.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to scrub it
You've
off,
got a
but
bit in
I've been
your
on the
beard
road.
She's kind of peering at you, and what it
Taint of
seems.
chaos cannot stand against the righteous.
Indeed, Sigmar be praised. Very well. She pulls out a bunch of tankards and she sticks them out on the thing in front of you and pours you from a large pitcher of ale. Kind of splashes it on all of those. Fine. Well, it seems that you have done us a service already. You can stay here the night for free. These ales are on the house. I'm afraid things are so hard in the village at the moment. That's all I can offer you.
I'm just going to put a gold on the counter and go, that should cover us.
And I should put my hand over my tankard, because I don't drink.
She slides it across to the Priest of Sigmar. And she pushes your gold coin back. You'll pay me due for the right thing. This is due to you.
You need it more than I do, lass. And slide it back.
She doesn't make a
Let's not start a fight.
Charm roll.
Bagric, make a charm roll.
Oh, crap.
Oh, that's the name of the episode
We're
right
going...
there.
Well,
People will
I can't be
definitely
held
see that.
responsible for this starting a fight.
That's clickbait right there.
58. No. Nowhere near. Failed by many degrees.
Okay.
She takes the tankard out. She turns it over and puts it on top of the coin. She says, well, maybe if it's still there in the morning. Food?
Aye,
Yeah, food.
meat.
We got fish
That'll do.
and bread. It's hard bread, but that's all we have. It's $1 each.
Put another gold on the counter.
No, and she puts it back over. It's $1.
This is for all of us and anyone else that needs food.
Fine. She kind of your dwarven stubbornness. She goes fine. She takes the 2 gold
Don't know how
coins.
stubborn and
She takes
dwarf.
yeah. She takes the 2 gold coins. She goes fine, but no more until you owe it.
It's when he opens the chest of like 1,000 gold
That's
coins.
back in the
Just goes,
Yeah, no,
back
no.
in the city.
Well, we don't have all
You
our
don't have all that
gold.
money.
Just
better
like,
bread?
Lying on it in the common room, like.
I'm just going to walk over to one corner and just start taking plate off.
Okay, very well. You hear, there around the room there are people sort of drinking, and after a while they start sort of talking again. They all look like fisher folk, hunters, trappers, those kinds of people, sitting around small groups of 2 or 3. There's quite a few tables in here. It seems like this may, you think, function as kind of maybe a town hall as well, where people would gather to sort of hear important people talk, or edicts passed by Nuln and all that kind of stuff said in the tavern. So it seems that there's a lot of room, a lot of benches around tables rather than chairs or stools. and there is a hearth going. Most of the people are near the hearth. The only space is kind of further away. So you kind of go over to that corner and start dropping all your gear over.
Can I ask Anselma?
Yep.
And Selma?
If the sick in the rooms need any help?
It's very kind of you. I would suggest that you stay clear until Erhard tells you all. I know little about medicine and herbalism. I'm told that those staying here in the rooms are early stage. I don't know. I don't understand this really. They have no buboes. They have no marks. They are simply coughing, racking like poor Volkhard. He's a tough lad though, and he'll be fine. She seems to be convincing herself more than anybody else in the room.
So they're confined to the rooms?
Generally, yes. We take up fresh water, linens, as much as we can, and food that we can spare. But as I said, things are tough in the town, in the village at the moment, but Armedorf welcomes you. Thank you for bringing back our people and for saving them from such dark times. Are you here to respond to the missive we sent to Null?
Yes.
Thank you. I didn't know whether she was being excited or hopeful or delirious in her state, but that is good to know. So you are from the Temple of Moor?
I am.
Excellent. We need to ascertain whether the dead will remain dead, I believe. Erhard said that this would be a wise choice to sort of follow through on, and he's not an expert in those areas.
The burned houses across the way.
We cleared some space so that people wouldn't be tempted to get too close to the very sick who are in the Temple of Shallya and the surrounding buildings.
And the fresh earth in front
We
of them.
have buried some who have died, but we've tried to keep them far enough away from the tavern.
And the hill outside of town.
There are some up there as well. There are too many. And to be honest, some of our strongest men have succumbed to this, and those of us left have not the strength or the constitution to drag hordes of bodies up onto the hill and bury them in the middle of the night.
I do not judge.
So there are a few buried here, interned within the walls of the village. I know this is not wise, but it is what we have been able to do. Your help will be much appreciated. Father Joseph was dear to all of us, and his passing is worrisome to everyone. When Father Erhard arrived, it was a blessing, and his help has seen that.
Where has he come from?
Sorry?
Where has he come from?
From the north. He's a Reichtlander, I believe, travelling from Altdorf on his way down to Nuln. But he said there were some of our folk were selling fish in Griswold, and heard of the plight of our village and selflessly decided to come here and help us. We are in his debt, for he has eased the passing of many of our people. There is little he seems to be able to do. There is nothing that I can do. She seems very frustrated by that. But yes, anyway, sorry, I must attend to some of my my people. And she kind of seems to be sort of getting a bit emotional about it and trying not to sort of give it away, and she kind of walks away.
I have dealt with this before.
Some food is brought and put on a large table in front of all of you. Some flagons and a big jug of ale is brought over, and you're kind of there with your food and drink.
Now he's just in his casual chainmail rather than the plate. You know, it's just closed
His
to
under
a dwarf.
chain.
It's just chain. It's not like real armour. It's where the plate is. Yeah, he's gonna tuck in
Okay.
quite
I was
heartily.
picturing you in like chainmail, just undies. Then for a minute, and you said that
Yeah.
casual
Trunks. They're
chainmail.
trunks. They're to the knee. You know,
and
they're
maybe
not-
some just bracers.
Yeah.
You know, the plate is when you're going into battle. If you're just walking around, chain's fine.
Maybe just a gorget, for kind of
effect.
kind of
Yeah, why not?
artisanal.
Is anyone doing anything?
Um,
You're just eating and drinking.
Yeah, I'll wait till tomorrow.
There's a jug of river water brought down.
I'd stick to the ale if I were you, manling.
I'm gonna ask Morgan about her or his rather. Sorry, previous.
It's been
experience.
boiled, she says, the serving boy that brings it over. There you go. Puts it on the thing.
You've had previous experience.
When I
with
come
this
back
already?
in for making sure everything's
I'll
Yep.
make sure there's a bowl and tankard
Secured.
ready for him.
down, I will.
Something about them remaining
As I've
dead?
probably got a bit wetter than when I was having, I will take the ale and go and stand by the fire for a few minutes just to dry
that's
out,
something I can-
Okay.
and then get the plate off as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a pile over in the corner.
Make a perception roll when you do that.
Okay.
It's hearing based, if that helps.
Yes, that does help.
Okay, so you go over there and you're kind of, a few people sort of give you a strange look. Again, more out of fear than hate. It's not that kind of look. And you kind of wander over and you stand by the fire. It's a decent fire. And this part of the building is actually made out of stone. It looks fairly well constructed. The chimney stack, going up through the centre of the building. You can see that it's got sort of bits going off to the side. Maybe the heat of it being distributed amongst the upper floor where guests are staying. Which you think, that's quite a novel thing for a human to think of. And these people sort of look at you, but a couple of riverboat people are talking and don't spot you. And one of them says, you clearly hear him say, sorry, I'm just finding the right name. Adela said that there's a witch in the woods. And the other one says, shut the fuck up. There's so much talk going on right now. Stop spreading such stupid rumours. And he's, fine. Okay, well, how many fish did you get today then? 12. The stocks are going down. Those bloody Dunkelbergers are fishing the river more than we are. I don't know what we're going to do. And then they kind of descend into river fish talk, which you find quite dull quite quickly. But yeah, the size of the fish that they're catching, the way, the smell of them, how they smell different. They seem to be fairly superstitious about various things. But you do hear that. The rest of you are sort of tucking into your food and everything. Anselma comes back at another point and says, she points over at a door on the side. That's where the common room is. Feel free to bunk down when you want. There's a few people in there. They won't give you any bother. I'm Anselma, by the way. I forgot to introduce myself. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Bagrick.
Bagrick. Okay.
Torvald.
Oh, you're another one.
Oh. Yes.
Pleasure to meet you, Master Dwarf
Torvald.
Torvald.
This is my brother.
She looks relieved. She's like, I thought they all looked alike. But no, they're actually brothers. Okay, fine. And, good sir?
I am Alvin.
Alvin. Okay.
Siegbert.
Siegbert.
Morgan.
It's a pleasure to meet you all, finally. I think the priest will be over shortly to check on those in the rooms if you wish to hang around for a little while.
How shortly?
In the next half hour.
I shall leave the tavern
Okay.
and go out to the gate guard
Okay.
and spend the evening chatting.
Are you taking anything with you?
His coin
I
purse.
shall take I shall take the plate
Okay.
with more fish than I need to eat and a
Okay.
bit more bread than I need.
So do you have gossip skill?
Do I have gossip?
Because this is a gossip role. This opportunity here. It's one of the main skills. So
I
it should
have,
be.
I have gossip.
You have gossip.
Five
Cool.
advances
Okay.
gossip.
And what's it based on? Fellowship.
Fellowship.
Yep. So make a gossip roll to see see how well you do in getting some rumours, information from these people.
Not very good at this.
You've got fortune points, don't forget.
I don't need fortune points. So I got 27, and my skill.
that's pretty good.
My skill is 29.
Okay,
So I passed.
well done. So, while you're out there, one of them.
That's a miracle. That's like a miracle.
Miracle, or what was your
Well.
score? 30%? 30% chance.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a chap called Otmar.
I don't know, with 2 priests in the party.
We didn't help though.
Yeah. A chap called Otmar who's guarding the gate that you came in, and he's like, "Oh, hello, yes, you've just come in, haven't you?"
We have.
I'm not normally on the gate, but he sort of brushes over the whole idea. Yeah. You sort of chat for him for a while, and it's like, "Oh, so where have you come from?" And you give it a little bit up, a bit of information, and he sort of at one point he sort of points out into the dark up the hill. See that up there? Yeah. You can't see what he's pointing at. Yeah. See that up there? That's Castle Pfeifraucher. Those bastards up there. Yeah. They're squeezing us. Well, I wouldn't give to go up there and give them a piece of my mind. There's not enough of us though. Those bastards.
Who comes down and squeezes you then? As in, do they send like
literally.
taxmen?
No, the problem is,
Taxmen.
one of the main places we trade with is Griswold.
Okay.
Yeah, so we fish the river, take it out of Griswold, sell it.
Yeah.
Problem is, they put taxes on from Visenland fish.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same river that the Riplanders fish,
Okay.
comes from a Visenlander, there's an extra tax now. We can't afford that.
Okay.
I fish most days.
Yeah.
I'm only up here overnight. I'm not going to get any sleep tonight, but we've got to do what we've got to do. That place has sat for years empty. Yeah. Last few years, suddenly, the Count is all interested, wants to reclaim his ancestral castle that his people had. Yeah. And those wankers from Nuln, who are sucking up to him, they're all summering in his castle. Them up there, that's the fucking problem. That's the fucking problem.
And he's talking to Alvin.
And there are some San Savinos I hear up there.
Who?
They're from Nuln.
Oh. Well. Santillion.
Well, let me put your mind at rest. At some point in the not too distant future, someone will go up there, someone will give them a piece of their mind, and it might be the end of my spear. And I shall
He laughs. He kind of laughs, but like kind of not sure.
I'll give him that look of, no, I'm being absolutely serious.
And he goes, well,
Good
cheers.
luck to you.
Yes. I'm going to do a bit of hunting tomorrow.
Mm.
This town looks like
Watch
it's
out,
doing a bit
watch
of,
out.
Bit of meat.
He points over the other wall.
Yeah.
Over that side, yeah, the Elector Count's given concessions to Griswold to do hunting and ranging in that area.
Oh, okay.
Consequently, our guys have to go that way. He points over at the less dense forest and the road.
Yeah.
There's not much game that way. It's all that way.
Okay.
This is how they're squeezing us.
It's okay. I'll go that way.
The Dunkelbergers, they don't stop off at the village. They just keep going. It's common decency to stop at the fishing village to buy some fish on the river. They're squeezing us from every angle.
Well, I'll go over there and hunt some good stuff. Bring it back. People can have a meal.
Don't
More than fish.
get us in trouble. It's
That's
like
okay. I'm not local.
All right, okay. Just watch out for their hunting parties out there. They're kind of,
Do they travel in more than 10?
I don't know. I don't go out there.
I'll find out, Mark.
He's sort of looking at you like you're some crazy man who's coming out of the rain, like saying
he's
he'll
not
solve
wrong.
all of his problems. yeah. You may just do it though. Okay, and that's kind of.
So
what you
basically,
get from the guy.
I'll
And then
prefer him a bit of a. I say you might want the bread then. I'm assuming you're used to the fish.
Thank you. Yes, I am.
So, and I shall take a few moments to fall asleep
Okay.
up there and.
You're going to sleep on the guard tower.
Well, basically, I'm going to go up there and.
Okay, cool. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So while that's going on, back in the tavern, you guys.
I would like to quickly have some of the hot food while it's still hot.
Mhm.
and probably take maybe the bread and the tankard and go outside.
Okay.
You going out to the bodies? Yeah, I'm gonna go out with
Okay.
him.
So the priests head outside. The dwarves are just going. It's like a food machine. It's like a
You
processing
mean the
machine.
dwarves are being sensible by staying in the warm building with beer and food?
Yeah. Beer is the main thing, isn't it? Okay, so the two of you head out
True.
of the thing. You look up and you can see Alvin showing off his spear on the guard tower. And you make your way through this few buildings around you and back to the road. Slosh across the road, and you can see this burn area of buildings that have just little huts and things that have been burnt, clearly burnt. And off to one side, near the gate that you came in, there are 4 little mounds of earth. And you can see, as I said, ahead a temple, a little shrine thing to Shallya, and a few buildings around it that have light coming out of them. And you get the sense that there are people in there moving around. You know. So what do you want to do?
Are there only the 4?
That you can see from here. If you want to go over and have a look around, make a perception or outdoor survival roll. Both of you. What?
Outdoor survival roll. Sam.
Yeah,
And he's like, I'm going to go and do some hunting. And I'm like, I'm not, because I am not a ranger.
yeah, definitely not a ranger with your animal companion
Hashtag not a ranger.
and outdoor survival skills.
Do you
got
know
a
what? I
longbow.
don't think I do. I don't have outdoor survival.
Oh!
There you go.
You probably have perception then.
You have
I do
perception.
have perception, yeah.
Okay, you can both roll on it.
What's it?
You
Yeah,
both roll.
I super didn't.
Super failed.
Well, super bad.
Well, I rolled a 6.
Okay, cool.
So, yes.
You have a look around, and you can see that there are clearly just 4 graves. There seems to be little tokens left behind, put in the ash and the burnt areas, though, that seem to be small prayers, small writs, small bits of wood with carvings on, that seem to be some sort of prayer or word to Shallya, dotted amongst them as a kind of, may they not have pain anymore, may they now be at peace. It seems a little unorthodox to you.
And unnecessary.
Yes. And jarring.
And, yeah, that's not going to do it. Alright, well, I'm taking it.
Are you going to go near the graves?
Well, I'm going to take it that this is not hallowed ground, particularly, unless it's to Shallya.
Make an intuition roll, both of you, on this one.
Right.
What's that then? No, there is one.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no.
Easy.
Okay. The rain and the drizzle and the general depression of the village is getting to you more than any sense of, has someone consecrated this land or done any holy effort to ward off, necromantic or chaos powers. So you kind of feel slightly drained yourselves as you walk across.
I've had a rough few days.
Are you going towards the graves, or are you going to go towards the shrine or the buildings? It's turned into a Zork adventure.
Well, I'm kind of
Go
just
to
following him
graves.
because he knows about this stuff,
Sure.
apparently, so he told me.
The graves are simple mounds of earth. You can see that they're shallow because they stick up above the ground quite
Yep.
high.
Yep.
And a few simple rocks have been put at the head. This doesn't look
Right.
particularly right or secure, or there are clearly 4 dead people here that probably died of a horrible plague.
And have
They're
not
just
been
sitting in the
tended
ground.
to properly.
Yeah, burnt, basically. They've not been burnt. So you are standing there and you hear a voice. Hello? Perhaps I would not stand so close if I were you. Hello? And you look over towards the shrine. And you see a man, tall, thin, sort of 40-year-old, slightly greying at the temples, maybe thinning on the top. A little bit of grey in his beard, but thin. And he's kind of leaning out of the shrine going, I wouldn't stand too close to that if I were you. Maybe if you wish to pay your respects, I would talk to Anselmo at the tavern. he's sort of looking into the because it's getting quite dark now, and he's trying to see who it is that's standing there.
Are you Earhart? No.
Yes, I am. I'm Erhard, Priest of Shallya, tending to the poor, blighted flock here in Armedorf. You're kind of shouting over a distance of kind of rainy.
I'll walk.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk.
Yeah.
As the two of us come into view out of the
Yeah.
night.
He's like,
And he's just like,
Priest powers activate!
Full plate except for the male coin.
okay, so both of you
chainmail.
Both of you.
Chainmail.
Very nice.
make a. Oh, actually, hang on.
I'm not trying to intimidate him.
Make an intimidate roll.
Gutted.
Both of you make an intimidate roll. Oh, definitely Sigma, right? With shaven head and massive
What?
warhammer with it.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm totally not scary.
97. Your dice are shocking bad.
You should
There you
so
go.
have to
Take
re-roll that. You should so have to re-roll that on principle. 97.
Use a fortune
that's
point.
kind of like
I mean-
you didn't tie your shoelaces up and you literally fall flat on your face.
Yeah, you know what? I will use a fortune.
How can you let that stand?
Yeah, fine. 64.
Yeah, fine.
So. Right.
You need to fail with decency.
Yeah.
There you go. Sorry, I'm just looking.
It's strength.
Apparently.
No. That's one of the optional ones. You can use fellowship.
I technically can use prey.
You can use prey to intimidate.
I don't.
With an E
So
or an
What, do I
A?
have to
but
pray at him?
No, but as you approach, you can make the symbol of Sigmar, as if trying to ward off.
I still fail. Because my prey is 60.
It's too
You
dark,
don't
maybe. It's
fail
just
to
too
make
dark.
the symbol of Sigma.
Your
You're
prey is
fairly
what?
confident you can
Yeah.
do
At
that.
least you
Yeah.
didn't trip over and headbutt the floor.
Yeah, it's true.
Your prey is what?
60.
60, and you failed.
I got
Okay.
64.
Okay.
On a re-roll. This
Okay.
is why
With
the Fimir
different
didn't
dice.
fucking do anything to us. Because Pete's dice are just shocking bad.
Okay. What did you get?
70.
70. Right, let me roll for him,
Okay.
and then we can see negative success levels and all that jazz. Okay, 88. Critical failure.
Okay.
With -4 success levels.
Okay.
So maybe he trips over.
Morgan's just walking there. He's not like trying to be dark and spooky.
But you are dark and spooky anyway. How many?
It's raining.
So that's a success
night.
for you.
Wait, hang on.
Because -4 from me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I am the knight.
Swear to me. Okay, so
Did
you
we
guys
say-
step
did we
into.
say it's only 10s now?
It is.
No.
You just count the tens.
Yeah, yeah.
No, if you pass or
Pass or
fail.
fail.
So the roll counts for the pass or fail. So you both succeed, in effect, in an
What?
opposed roll. And he his eyes go wide as these two armoured, battle-hardened looking priests clearly step into the light in front
Stumble,
of him.
but only a little bit. We're
Yeah.
still intimidating.
Stumble,
nonetheless.
It's fine. He doesn't
but
notice it's
you know,
dark.
Yeah.
you
Got away with
He's easily cowed.
pull it off. Yeah. And he says,
Yeah.
well, I'm
Good evening, Father.
taken aback. Oh, good evening, fathers. Welcome
Oh.
to my humble shrine here. And he sort of steps forward and sort of pulls the door to. It is a pleasure to meet both of you. I assume the word to Nuln got through and some help has come back.
Indeed.
Excellent. Make intuition rolls, both of you.
Please bring him to the tavern.
Hey.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's due there in about half an hour.
I know, but more priests to collect.
Okay. He seems on edge. It may be the fact that there are lots of people dying around him. And he's doing his best to
I
try
don't
and
think so.
Yeah.
help them all.
Definitely
He
not.
seems honest about what he's just said, or
He just seems on edge. He like gestures towards the buildings. There are some very sick people here. I'm afraid this is plague, and I'm doing the best I can to heal these people and try and cure it. We've sent people out into the woods. We've tried to find the source, but they simply come back sick or don't come back. Now most of the able-bodied men and women of the village are gone.
Sick or dead.
Yes. And he kind of walks to one of the small houses, which is little more than a hut. Kind of opens a door, and inside there is like a robed individual leaning down, and there are lots of people sort of moaning and groaning on the floor with sort of pustules and things on their body. It clearly is. You're both very clear on this. It's clearly Black Plague, which is super bad. And you guys need to make toughness rolls at plus 30 because you are standing far enough away.
Hey, you totally shouldn't go near those buried graves. Come over here and breathe this in.
Oh, Kev just rolled 100.
You need to.
You really need to.
What is going on? What is going on?
Use my dice.
I think he needs to use your green dice.
No, these ones are okay.
14 points.
No, these are okay. Look.
74.
No, they're good for me.
Okay, plus 30 to your toughness.
You got
75.
one worse.
74's fine.
Plus
'Cause you're
30
plus
to your
30.
toughness.
Yeah, it's not fine.
You
That's
found.
36.
Oh.
Okay,
Double one.
14.
14 passed. Okay. Kev,
It's
not
got
very
black in
nice.
the name, I'm fine.
I would have offered
Okay.
him these, but I just rolled 99 to test them.
Yeah.
No, I'll stick with these blue ones. I actually got one good roll on them. Just not the second. I'll stick with the blue ones.
The blue ones?
Yeah,
okay.
I'll stick with the blue.
Sure.
They're not cursed, it's just my hands.
Okay.
Wasted good rolls.
This isn't a roll to see if you contract the black plague.
Yeah.
This is a roll to see if you vomit
Yeah.
from the smell and the sight of it.
Deadpan.
Morgan, you've clearly come across this thing
Salivate
before.
For some reason.
You know, you've battled
No, you.
you've battled the undead. You know, so you're used to this kind of thing, and your stomach is iron. Siegbert, although you've seen the horrors of chaos, this is not. This is just a natural, horrible phenomenon.
Yeah, I was a knoll
and it
until
kind
recently.
of turns your stomach, and you turn to the side, and you, in fact, not like, you know, it's not
Projectile.
Family
Linda
Guy.
Blair?
"Ah," you know, it's just like a little bit of a sick up kind of thing. But you are like, oh, and he shuts the door quickly, and he says, if you are exposed for even an hour to the air in that room, then you're in serious, grave trouble. I would stay as clear as possible.
Is it wise to keep the early cases in the inn with everyone else?
There's nowhere else to keep them.
We have little space to clear this area. When these people die, I will bring them here.
There's nowhere in the town to put them.
Well, you kind of look back at the tavern and the village, and it's not big. You know, you could bunch them up all at one end of the village in some of the houses, possibly, but then one of your gate areas will be sort of potential area of contamination.
The inn is definitely an area of contamination.
He says, we are doing the best that we can. They are simple village folk, and they know not how to deal with these kinds of problems. I am doing everything I can to ease the passing of these people and heal as many as I can. But it's a great toll on me. And as much as Shallya wishes to aid these people, I cannot eradicate this foul disease from this place. My faith is not strong enough.
You're from Armedorf.
By and by, yes.
You travelled this way all alone.
I wasn't alone. I was on a trading caravan for part of it, and helped. One of their horses was sick, and I helped heal their horse. And then I happened upon a group of adventurers who were heading generally south towards the Grey Mountains for some reason. Some hoard of treasure they were after. I'm not sure. But one of their number was injured and laid up on a wagon, and I paid for my protection with my abilities. Make intuition rolls, both of you. And then I arrived in Griswold, and the poor
Yeah, sounds legit.
the poor folk
Seems good to me.
poor folk who were coming, the fisher folk, who one of them was coughing with a raspy cough, and I tended to them, and they said that there were more sick in their village and people were dying, so I felt felt, what else could I do? Clearly, Shallya was calling me to this place to help these people. Wine, anyone?
Were you here?
Go on, Rog.
I'm alright at the moment.
Sorry.
How long have you been there?
Not long. A week or so. To be honest, I lose track of days. Right now, I've been helping however I can.
Do it.
What is it?
The last one.
I haven't even had one.
Oh.
No, I don't actually want one. It's fine. I'm drinking wine. I like a wine.
I like to drink my calories.
Are you eating it off screen?
I just think it's really funny because I can.
Don't fall off your chair. Okay. So,
The tokens on the grave markers. What purpose do they serve?
They serve no purpose between you and I. But I hope that they serve
Reassure the villagers?
to reassure the villagers. Make an intuition roll.
Just like, 23.
That sounds weird. Just something's off. You're not 100% sure.
Plague bodies not be burned.
I was told that someone from the Temple of Moor was coming to investigate this properly. So I decided that there should be something for them to investigate when they arrive. Maybe foolish of me, but I'm just trying whatever I can. We have burnt many bodies. Trust me. And he kind of points over to one side where there's a big burnt building. It could easily be some bodies burnt in there as well. He's like, we have burnt many bodies.
That's a building. Because I don't think Sigbert would, but I would. And so I go, that's a building. That's not what people do.
So while you're having this conversation, this is about the same time that you finish. But meanwhile, in the tavern, the dwarves are... Plate is off. There's a big pile of plate mail on the floor.
Casual.
And you're in your casual chain, your evening chain.
Little plate bow tie.
Brilliant. And as you're sitting there... Excuse me.
It's got plague.
No! While you're sitting there, a woman comes in. And she seems thin but lithe. She's wearing leather clothing, sort of apron, trousers, a heavy tunic. She's got a hat on. She comes in, kind of stamps her feet and gets out of the rain. And she kind of throws a hat on a stand and just looks at Anselma. Anselma looks back, and then she goes and sits down at a table near you, because this is the only area with... empty tables, and she's kind of sitting there briefly for a minute, sort of brushing water off the leather, and she kind of just happens to be sort of looking around the room and looks at you guys, and she's like, dwarves? She reaches out to you with a hand of a smith. You can see the thick fingers, the scarred hand. You see that the toes of her boots have clearly been burnt by many a loose ember and fleck of hot steel. And the leather on her, and she smells of smithing. And she kind of turns to you and says, "Dwarves in our village. Ah, well, this is a treat indeed. Anselma, fetch that bottle of whiskey that we've been stashing behind the bar." Anyway. Why? What? Then she kind of turns round and kind of sits backwards on the chair and looks at, just openly looking at both. Very open. She's got ruddy cheeks. You've got mouths full of food. She's like, "What brings two bold dwarven brothers to our village?"
We've got some business in the area. We've got some problems with some
business
criminals.
in Armedorf.
Aye.
What business? She kind of seems to be sort of scoffing a bit. What bit? There is plague in the village.
Well, we'll do what we can about that. But we are here on our own business as well. We've got some.
She's eyeing, as you're talking, her eyes drift down to the pile of plate mail that's sitting on the floor. Nice kit you've got.
Aye. Made by a dwarf.
She kind of nods. She nods. Okay. Mind if I have a little look?
Feel free.
Says Bagric through clenched teeth.
Well, no.
She
I'm
kind of
pretty
holds
sure
it up.
Bagric can get to her with an axe
She
before
says,
she gets to the door.
This, she's not. This stamp, that's the Falkenberg Forge in Nuln, isn't it?
Aye, Gromdrath.
Oh. Haven't seen him in a long time. It's been a
you
long
know him.
time. Well, not, for trade purposes, every now and then. But once a month or two. Nothing, I wouldn't call it a relationship.
You didn't say anything about that.
She obviously has a thing.
Awkward
for
drink.
dwarves.
Relationship doesn't have to mean
Yeah.
intimate. It can just
Yeah,
mean
I know, but if no one else mentions the word relationship and you go to, I wouldn't call it a relationship, then it's like, okay.
Aye, we're hunting some criminals.
In these parts.
Aye.
Well, tell me what I can do to help.
Do you know anything of the Sansavinos?
Are they, is this one of those new families? the villagers tell me about these new families who are hunkering down up at the castle. Well, we say castle. It's kind of, it's an old castle that was ruined, and they're building. Like, there are various families building summer houses within the walls of the castle.
That sounds like what we're looking for. We were told they had a summer house there.
Yeah. It's not, when they say summer house, they don't mean summer house. They mean like a fortified building. We've seen retainers, retinues going up into the hills. Groups of people heading up there. It's curious. Groups of household staff passed through the village, a few months ago, and someone, what was his name? Otmar. Well, I think he's doing night shifts on the gate these days. He said he saw some ogres, like heading up there, like in fancy clothes. I think, what an idiot! But yeah,
Clothes. Wear armour. It's much more effective.
Armour too, but like posh ogres. Anyway, I don't know. Some groups have been heading up into the in the hills, not coming through the village. I mean, why not stop in the village for recuperation, resupply, and to help the village? These people are suffering.
You don't want those scum stopping here. Believe me, you're better off without them.
You know of whom I speak?
Aye, they're scum.
Well, they're building a fortified. You know that the Reiklander nobility are trying to push the border south. She kind of seems to be looking around a little bit as she talks about this. And she leans in a little bit closer and her voice goes down, quieter.
Well, they can play whatever political games they like. Any of them that we find up there won't be making it far. They've kidnapped our friend.
What? Kidnapping?
Aye. Then not just him and others. And far worse that I don't want to see in here.
Right. Well, maybe we should have a conversation at my smithy. If you don't want to talk here.
You want to see my
I
forge?
didn't realise that I'm hitting on Bagric. Really, I'm just drawn to him. It's just coming out in this character.
Maybe later when some more of our party are turned back up. Don't want to leave.
It's more of you.
Aye. Don't want to leave
More
that
dwarves?
lot unguarded. No, we've got some manlings with
She
us.
seems to be slightly deflated when you say.
Couple of
We've got a
priests.
couple of trees.
Oh.
We seem to be collecting them. We understand you've got another one here. We could add it to our collection.
Don't talk to me about Erhard.
Why? What about him?
I don't know. He's just
Is he a rubbish priest?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Does he even have chainmail?
He's just.
Yes! You hear what he said?
Does he even have chainmail?
Yeah.
Does he even have armour?
Dost thou
I don't know.
even
There's
wait?
just something strange about that man. I don't know.
Which of your gods does he follow?
Oh, the Shallya, the healer.
The healing one? Well, surely you'd want a healing one around in times like this.
But no one's got better.
Clearly not a very good priest.
Yeah, but he's not got ill.
Neither of ours are Shallya. We've got one as Sigmar, and what's the new one? More?
More.
Oh, so the missive got through to Null.
Bagrick will just shrug.
We sent for a priest of Moor to check that the dead will not rise.
Ah, well, probably then. We found him looking for someone else. We came
Okay.
across an abandoned village, and within that a tavern being occupied by, and in a
Abandoned
lower tone,
village?
Fimir.
Fimir.
Aye, there are about a dozen of them. There aren't any anymore.
Last time I tangled with those, that was... I nearly lost my arm.
Well, they're gone.
There you go.
And
Good.
burnt them.
Good.
Chaos filth.
Well done.
Found a few of yours
Yeah.
as well.
Got some of your village folk found in there.
Someone came in the smithy earlier on and said that people had been come back from missing on the road or something. I wasn't sure if people were just... I don't know. Things have been a bit strange in the village recently.
We found them and the Moor priest in there.
Well, for what little it counts, I'm grateful to you, dwarves. Can I buy you an ale or?
We've got gold behind the bar. Have one on us.
Anselma comes over with the bottle of whiskey. Here, please. And she pours out a few shots of whiskey and says, "To your good dwarf kin."
Patrick will just look at it. He's probably never seen whiskey. Smells alcoholic. Down.
Yeah.
Down the hatch.
It's a interesting flavour.
It's like fire water. It's like...
Glass is a bit small though.
She takes your ale mug, pours it out, and pours whiskey in it. Not full, but like a good measure, and gives it back to you. You deserve that for what you've done.
Be careful, brother. That stuff kicks like Bugman's Triple X.
What I wouldn't give for a pint of Bugman's.
Yes, but we won't find it here, so don't dream about it too hard.
This is the last place you'll find such things. I need to go and talk to Anselma about a couple of things. Will you still be here tomorrow? Are you staying the night? Are you?
We are. Perhaps you could answer us a question. People
Right.
seem to look afraid of us. Not used to getting that reaction.
To be fair, I don't know. I just don't think they've ever seen a dwarf. And the people of the village are good folk. They don't tend to turn towards hate at their first instinct.
No, it wasn't.
They're just
It wasn't hatred.
Scared of people from
had
outside
that
because
look
of
from
what's
others.
happened. No, but because of what's happened with all the outsiders, I think they're just scared, just generally. So I wouldn't take it personally.
Nah, I'm not. I was just wondering.
Fair enough.
But we'll do what we can.
Okay. I need to go and talk to Anselma. So she leaves you guys to it. You guys are over by Erhard, but he says that he needs to go and tend to the sick. So he just kind of leaves you.
Yep.
And goes in to help them. And are you staying at the guard house, or are you going to come back to the tavern?
I'll just fall asleep at some point.
At the guard. Okay, cool. So the four of you convene back at the tavern.
Probably for the best.
Okay. So you guys come in, and the dwarves are
Shake the rain off my hat.
sitting there.
We probably would have discussed how weird that was about the healer priest not healing anyone in Casalid. Because I'm pretty sure that these
Probably
humans
won't
won't have a
speak
clue what we're
Casalid.
talking about. We'll just be there going grumble, 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 grumble. And
Yeah.
Dwarves do.
So it sounds like chewing gravel.
yeah, that's basically how it's described. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I'm probably watching Bagrick sort of gently fall under the effects of whiskey for the first time.
No, you can. I'm pretty sure Bagrick's quite.
Make
good
an
at this.
endurance roll at plus 20.
He's considered
Yes,
alcohol as
I
a
didn't
skill?
roll 100.
What's your endurance?
I have.
Well,
I have
at plus
+10
20, my toughness is 60.
when I was-
Oh, your toughness is 60.
And I've got, 71 plus 20, 91.
His toughness is 60.
So
I'm never
that's
going to
only-
hurt him.
that's
I'm never going to kill Bagric.
I'm gonna try so hard.
Some ogres may help.
Some ogres might help.
Nah, no, I was gonna say spells, but that won't really help. Cause
No,
it's
to be honest,
Last time, the spells were horrible.
you just
Yeah,
talk
But I
to
don't think they work quite the same
You just
way.
talk to him to death, because Bagric would just be like,
Yeah, true. Okay, so you guys they're muttering in
Kazalid.
Kazalid, dwarfish, to you guys, as you come back in. They're clearly, rain-soaked and arriving. Alvin is nowhere to be seen. He's,
Somewhere else.
Alvin.
he's Alvin.
probably out walking with some
Alvin.
village lady he found.
You guys saw him up on the guard hut. You see the smith lady over by the bar talking with Anselma. You didn't actually ask her name, did you?
No.
But she's clearly a smith.
She disappeared off quite swiftly.
She's got the thick hands, tough arms. She's
smithy garb.
She's not like huge, but she's kind of lithe, thin, toned, wiry, and she's wearing an apron, and she looks like she's been standing in front of a furnace, kind of thing. And they're talking animated about. You can kind of hear the edges of the conversation. It's kind of like, oh, the guy's coming back tomorrow. The fishing going well. We've got enough stocks. We've got. They seem to be organising between them the village and everything that's going on. And at one point, Anselma mentions Erhard, and the smith says, "Oh, kind of very dismissive." Anyway, I've got enough stuff to be working on fishing gear for people for the next 2 weeks. After that, it's going to be difficult to be repairing. It sounds like she does a bit of carpentry as well as smithing, repairing boats, the rods, the hooks, the lines, everything. It's getting close to the line, she says. But this is all kind of going on a bit further away. And you two come in, and the guys are eating food. It's getting late.
Still.
Villagers are now leaving the tavern. So there are tables near the fire if you want to go and get nearer the fire.
Given that we've been stood out in the rain, that might not be a bad plan.
Okay.
Looking at your
Can
plate
I-
armour.
Yeah.
Do you guys go over to the fire as well? No one, basically, everyone's seen
Oh, no,
you.
if they literally just walk in, look at us, and walk over
No,
there.
I'm gonna walk by
Yeah,
the guys.
I might.
Okay, Morgan goes over to the fire.
Kind of would.
He's looking kind of moody, all in black by the fire.
It's just his face.
Yeah. Oh yes.
It's just his face.
His face is all in black.
Yes!
you got blackface?
He's got soot!
No. Okay.
Damn it, Kevin.
And Siegbert goes over to the dwarves, who are muttering in Kazalid. Are they teaching you? Are you guys teaching? Yeah, my life now. Are you guys? I forgot. Are you guys teaching Siegbert Kazalid?
Not yet.
Not yet. No,
Okay.
I did want to ask.
Okay. But they're muttering to themselves.
To be fair, if he approaches us, I'll stop talking.
Yeah,
with
no.
Kazalid.
No,
Switch to Reichspiel.
I'm gonna gesture. And we met the priest. He's a strange,
Either.
hard worked, I guess.
The smith doesn't speak very highly of him.
We met the smith. That's her, I assume.
Aye.
What's her name?
Shrug.
Shrug.
Didn't talk for long, or
The
No,
smith seems to be heading over towards Morgan.
They spoke a bit, and then she went off to speak to Aunt Anselma.
do you want to come over to the fire? I need to dry myself off a bit.
I'll shrug and stand
No one's
up.
going to nick your gear. There's
Picking up my bowl and the mug.
You kind of go over there.
I'll
and
catch you up, brother. I'll move this stuff into the common room and just sort of
Okay.
gather up.
Sure.
Obviously, it can take
A few goes.
couple of trips.
Yeah.
But it's the thing. It's a dwarf thing. It's the pick up, walk off, and anyone probably left in the tavern just sort of looks at this dwarf, picks up a pile about the size of him,
Yeah.
and just walks it into the common room.
Yeah, just kind of
Like an ant.
Yeah.
slump myself down on the table with our collection of
You guys
priests.
come over as the smith arrives, and she kind of walks over and So you're the priestly companions of the good dwarf here. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Bagrick.
Romilda. Pleasure to meet you, Bagrick.
Siegbert.
Siegbert. Pleasure to meet you.
Morgan.
I'm the smith here in... I was going to say town, but this isn't really a town, is it? This is a village. And I do what I can for these people. You are here to help, I understand. But really we're suffering from a very secular problem as well as a potentially religious or disease-based one at least. And I think the faith in the town is not strong enough to deal with the problem that we're having. But
You refer to Earhart? Or just the town's faith?
Yes, I refer to Earhart. After Father Joseph died, rest his soul. She seemed to pause for a minute.
Where is he?
We burned him.
He's also a priest of Shallya.
Verena. These people needed justice more than anything. Now they have a poor excuse for a healer. The man who never seems to get sick, but never seems to heal anyone. Anyway, I do what I can. I fix their buildings, I fix their boats. I'm more carpenter these days than smith. But I am here to help. And if you are here to help, then we are friends. And she kind of holds up her flagon of ale and whiskey chaser. And is like, cheers. I assume, Morgan, then you are here to deal with the issue of potentially restless dead.
Hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. But given the current situation, things need to be done.
Indeed. For some reason he's buried some rather than burned them.
This, you say for some reason, he made the decision to stop burning them? Or there just wasn't time, or...
He wanted
it's
to
too
leave
much?
proof. You don't need proof.
You don't need that much proof, surely. There's the four here, and then
The proof is
however many on
upstairs.
top of the hill.
Am I
Surely the
wrong?
proof is all of them.
Am I wrong?
Sick.
But if you burn them, they don't come back.
It makes it a lot harder.
Okay. She looks at you, slightly scared.
Are you laughing in character, by the way?
There's a
It's a
wolfish
smirk.
grin. A wolfish
Genuinely,
smirk.
it's so
Yeah.
creepy, but like, in a
Yeah,
cool,
like-
like,
It's probably a smirk.
Laura, actually, I have seen it once.
I'll show you my notebook.
All that was left was a little toe, and he just managed to...
A very evil toe after it came back.
Look, it's getting late. I suggest that you and your party meet me at the smithy in the morning so we can talk about what's going on in the village. Does this sound like a reasonable idea?
Agreeable.
Aye.
Very well. She downs the ale and then knocks back the whiskey. That should help me sleep. Tomorrow. And she kind of heads out of the tavern.
Morgan, do we need to do anything
And Selma's putting out candles.
to keep an eye on those graves? If you're worried about them coming back, do we need to do it? Do you have a rite or anything you need to do?
I might take care of it this evening.
Do you need help?
You can come if you wish.
Just in case anything comes out of the woodwork.
Bagrick looks
Literally.
slightly pleased by that. But something might come out of the woodwork.
Okay. So, the candles are being put out and the last of the villagers and fisherfolk are leaving the town. You are all that's left. You wanting to go out
The
and...
temptation to wait till midnight is quite high.
Do you-
Do it properly.
That's fine. You can go to the common room, but they will tend to lock the place up or bar the door so that strange things in the night.
Yeah, I
Get
know,
into
right?
The tavern.
No, I'll deal with. Yeah.
So you're going to go out?
Yep.
Okay, so you head out.
Don't let Anselma lock up until we get back in. Will you?
Aye.
She kind of just nods at you and... Right, so you
I didn't
guys
say
head
it
out.
to her. I said it to him.
No, I know, but you're the only people in the room,
yeah.
and she kind of just goes,
Yeah.
What trouble is
Accepting
going to
work.
happen with two armoured dwarves sat in the bar? Beyond dwarves sat in the bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than to the beer stock, it's probably
The two
fine.
of you
Yep.
head out, and you head over to the graves. What are you doing?
So he's burned allegedly. Some
As
of
you
them.
get there, sorry, before you
Yep.
do,
Is he
sitting
still
on one of the
floating around?
rocks on one of the graves
Is Alvin's friend?
is a raven, and it looks at you. And for a moment, you have a brief flash across your vision, and there is a tree growing out of the grave, and from it, 4 branches reach out, and on the end of each branch is an apple. And the raven is sitting on one branch and pecking at an apple, and worms are coming out of the apple.
Yep.
And as it pecks it, the apple drops to the ground. And then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then the tree folds into the grave, and the vision is gone.
Great.
It's like a stop frame animation kind of thing. Like a Beetlejuice kind of weird kind of thing going on.
Right. Is
See,
there...
but he,
Stops.
It's fine, I did it on
pauses.
purpose.
Pauses briefly. There is a pause,
Oh.
but you don't know whether there's any significance to it. Make an intuition roll.
Magic and shit.
Blue die strike again.
I'm
just
sorry,
going for
Kev.
combat.
I'm sorry,
I'm getting
Kev.
all the bad rolls.
You
out
can
of
swap
the
your
way.
dice round if you want.
I may. No.
I'm trying to
I may
find my
have-
shoelaces.
I may have walked into the back of him as he stopped.
I think we should get you some Velcro.
You bump into Morgan, and that's what jars you out of the vision.
Is the raven still there?
The raven caws and flies off.
Right. Is there any sign of Earhart
There is clearly activity going on
in one of the houses?
in one of the houses over there, but nowhere near
Right.
the local area. Alvin, you're woken by a raven's caw. It's this new
like the
thing,
blood all over again.
and your brain is doing your mimic thing, where you're starting to
Oh god.
learn the noise, and it wakes you up. And you look down from the guard hut and you see the 2 priests standing.
Looking about in graves at night.
You watch Siegbert kind of bump into Morgan,
Yeah.
like he's not looking where he's going.
Yeah.
They seem to be standing by these 4 grave mounds that are kind of oddly on their own to one side, in between 2 burnt buildings, and they seem to be standing there in the rain. The guard, Otmar, is kind of teetering just awake on the edge of the kind of balustrade of the thing, kind of looking out, tired out into the darkness. There's a lantern, burning low kind of thing. You kind of see the guys down there. You are in front of the graves. What do you want to do?
I've got a couple of options here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't leave them here. But I don't really want to be digging them up now.
Mm-hmm.
If I can do last rites at least,
Mm-hmm.
and then burn them properly in the morning when it might have stopped raining.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then I'll just make a bigger fire. I might ask Alvin for help.
Sure.
Yeah, I
He's
burned
good
the
at
last place.
Suddenly the village burns.
Yeah, the bigger fire, the tavern.
There's sick people in there.
You think that would do for now?
Yeah, I definitely want to do last rites.
Okay.
But I don't want to leave them in the street. But I don't think that I can deal with that right now.
You you probably don't have
Especially
much
as I
option.
don't want to be. Well, I don't want to be like digging up graves at midnight in the middle of this town that we've just arrived in. I mean, I know I'm a Morite priest, but I'm really not helping the stereotype.
No, you're not. You wouldn't be. Okay, so you kind of walk between them and say last rites
Yep.
over each of the graves, and
Yep.
you hear this, Siegbert. Siegbert, you are drawn to say a few prayers to Sigmar yourself just by the experience. All three of you make intuition rolls.
I'm going to re-roll that just because I'm not going to do very much else today.
Yeah.
Yes, I passed.
Okay.
How are you? How
I
are
got
you
12.
redoing fate points and stuff?
So you can use a fortune point to re-roll,
Right.
or do you remember
At a
everything?
success level.
At a success level if you succeed.
Okay.
You don't want to spend a fate point, and resilience and resolve come into like psychological problems. So if like undead popped up and started causing fear, then you'd want to use them to go, I ignore fear
Yep.
and I smash you with my mace.
I passed by 3 success levels.
Okay.
So if I'm not satisfied with that roll, and I
You could
just
use
want
a
to re-roll
fortune
it,
point to re-roll.
Um,
And fortune points come back.
Can I mimic the last rites? Can I remember the phrase?
You can.
Is that right?
You can. As you are standing there.
32.
Okay, so you pass. Okay. You get
Hope so.
as you're doing this, you get a sense that this was needed, but not necessarily in a immediate fashion. Alvin, as these last rites are being said, your shield feels vibrant. There's something strange. Like you're standing there and you're kind of muttering. You can hear Morgan saying,
Yeah.
and you're repeating what he's saying. And as you're saying these words, there's something about your shield, maybe a magical resonance, etheric attunement, something along those lines that seems to be going on. Other than that, you have no sense of like you're not close enough to the graves or the mounds themselves to get any feeling about that. But remember, intuition isn't just is someone lying to me. It can be something weird going on.
Something's fucky.
Is it a trap?
Is it a trap, or is there something magical or supernatural or something off going on? Off going on. That's a weird saying. So you get drawn into this briefly, and you feel this moment. Morgan, you say last rites over all the bodies, and you are satisfied from a spiritual as well as moral.
I'd like to inspect slightly the tokens that have been left as well, because I was not convinced by his. Oh, they're there to make the villagers feel better. The villagers are not gonna like random trinkets. Their friends are dying.
Okay.
They're all dying.
Sure. Make a perception roll at plus 20, and Siegbert as well.
23.
What's going on?
That's another 100.
How many times have you rolled 100?
Twice.
Okay,
And I've rolled
Siegbert
over
falls
90 like
over.
4 times.
Siegbert trips over one of the grave
It's not a
mounds
critical
into the
fail.
mud. It's double zero.
nice.
Double
I
zeros.
think it still counts as a critical fail.
So does a 1 still count as a critical pass?
I'll help you up.
No, 11 does.
Thanks.
So 99.
Did you have any of that whiskey?
No. I haven't had much
Did
sleep.
you pass?
Yeah.
Okay. These look like, in your experience, in your time travelling around the lands, you've seen those folk who are charlatans and hucksters who have tried to imitate holy tokens, relics, and such like. This looks very much like that. Someone is trying to imitate Shallya prayers. There's an odd word wrong. There's the wrong tense, the wrong inflection, the wrong thing. You're not a priest of Shallya, but you've experienced these things before, especially as a priest of more Shallya. There's a,
Overlap.
exactly.
The daughter
A relationship,
meet the
you might
father.
say.
Exactly. But also you work, sometimes you have to work hand in hand. One passes someone on to the other one.
Is one of her symbols a tree?
Shallya. I think so.
Because I think so.
Let me
And
just.
Morgan would
I'm just going to
probably
double. You know what? I'll double check just in case it's not. Because
Oh, I have law theology.
this is
It is now.
You won't need to roll for that. Well, common holy symbols: white doves, keys, heart, drop of blood.
Okay.
Natural things like a tree with a dove or a tree with a blood and that kind of thing could be seen. It's not standing out as
So
a
it's
major
not
thing.
crystal, but okay. That'll do for now.
You seem to be doing something intentionally around the graves, which you're sort of seeing.
What do you make of these?
What do I make of those? I don't know. Would I even? I assume because if I'm looking at them directly now, I don't know.
Make an intelligence roll.
I've got.
That's as far as I'm concerned. You're a priest of Sigmar.
100.
I don't know how long
You've
you've
got
been a priest of
law
Sigmar.
theology.
I've got lore theology as well. But I
Make a
don't
law theology roll.
have any points in it. Actually,
plus
I don't have
20
any points in
because-
it. I have it, but I don't take any points in it.
Sure. It's probably intelligence. Law skills are all the law skills are.
86.
There's some
It's not
things.
88.
What do you make of it? I think it's a stone.
Kevin, the lesson we learned today is bring your own dice. Even though they are warp stone.
Two sets of warp stone dice
You're-
next to each
it's
other might
dark.
make it worse.
It's raining, you're tired, you've done a shitload of burning down of buildings today. You're like,
But the one success I have
That was
had all
yesterday.
night was him talking about the
Yeah.
whole
no,
this is,
okay, that's true.
So I
That's
go.
true.
I didn't like the way he talked,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I know nothing about Shallya.
I'll leave them be for now.
Okay.
I'm burning everything in the morning.
Okay, cool. Right.
Like the inn and everything?
Oh, that's how!
Everything!
I just hear Alvin sing. I just picture Alvin here breaking up, burning everything.
Wait
Can
for
I just,
me!
in sort of a mildly tongue-in-cheek kind of way, go to her, you're doing nothing for the image of the priest. You know that. You know. Burning everything might be... Oh, you mean the corpses? Yeah, no, that I agree.
Okay.
I also need to tend the garden.
The garden?
It's on the hill.
Oh, yeah.
And I will turn around and walk back to the tavern.
Yeah. It's a bit late for that right now.
Also, I don't actually know where it is.
Yeah,
I just know it's
yeah,
on a
you
hill.
need
And
someone
then I'm
to-
looking around here. Well, there's a hill. There's a hill. There's a hill.
Yeah. Very true.
I'm just going to stand beside the graves for a minute in the rain and just kind of rub my face, like,
Wash the
contemplate
mud
my life about the fact that I just can't do anything today. And just be like,
Okay. So,
Be a priest, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
you go back to the
used to be a
tavern.
nobleman.
And Torvald has moved all your gear into the common room. And you sleep the night. And you guys...
And there's still no sign of Alvin.
Alvin, you know
was
who's
around
up
the
in the
watchtower
guard in
earlier.
the guard thing. Small point of order. Does anyone have to go home immediately, or can we carry on for a bit?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, good. So you bivouac down in the common room for the night.
Hey, it's got a roof.
It has got a roof.
What do you want?
And it's quite warm. The warmth
But
of the
yeah, we
hearth
rig up
is
a
still
shelter.
lingering in
It's
the
better
building.
than last night, and it's definitely better than the night before.
And a few nights. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Cuddling
No
a
one,
Fimir
no
while
one here
you're-
has beaks.
Yeah.
And that helps.
Oh yeah, that was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So
Apart from him. Car!
yeah. The morning comes, and it is still raining. It is dreary. It is overcast. Alvin,
So before the sun comes up,
sure.
I shall borrow a cloak from.
Hey, you've got your big Spartan cloak.
Yeah. I shall take my Spartan cloak.
Yep.
And I shall go out.
Yep.
To the forest that I was told don't go to because it's hunting parties.
Okay.
So I'll go there before light.
Okay.
So I shall get there about light,
Okay.
Alvin.
and then I shall do some hunting.
Oh, so you're going to hunt for some game.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have an outdoor survival roll.
Okay. Can I spend time to make it easier?
You can have a plus 20%.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I'm not
Because
very
you're
good.
you're sitting and waiting and taking your time and borrowing a crossbow off of Torvald.
He's probably got his own.
Well, I've got my.
I think someone gave Torvald all the crossbows.
Yeah.
I think
So he
they
could
all
be
got-
like,
yeah,
tum,
I
tum,
was-
tum, tum. He
but
could do a
I
matrix
was
like
lying-
boom, boom.
I was lying
boom.
on the back of the wagon.
No, I
and
know.
stuff.
I'm only winding you up.
Right, so
I'm only
outdoor
winding
survival. Intelligence.
Plus 20%.
So I'll roll that.
Okay.
Oh no, 58. I
sound
thought
like
it was
a
85.
to
58's fine.
Okay, cool.
So I passed.
How many success levels?
2.
2. So,
That's not bad.
you find a small deer.
Okay.
A fawn, maybe. You know, that you trap and kill. And you, in the morning, I assume you're going to come back to the tavern.
I'm going to come back.
In the morning, you guys wake up, and Alvin comes in. He looks slightly bleary-eyed, ever so slightly, but he looks quite heroic, with a deer over his shoulders and his spear in his hand, which has still got a little glistening bit of red on the tip of it.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. And he comes in, and he's like,
I shall come in and plonk it on the ground and say, Verena is with us all.
and Selma is in the main room of the tavern, getting ready for the day, and she looks at you, and she says, "You need to be careful on both counts, but it is good to know." And she walks away. The people are coming for a meeting later on, so I'm going to prepare the room for a town meeting, a village meeting, but breakfast will be served as per your money last night.
Is there somewhere a bit safer we can leave our plate? Don't want to
No
just
one will
leave it in
touch
the
your
corner.
stuff in the common room. We're all good people here. Trust me. And she looks at you with quite a heavy look, like, this is an important moment between us.
This is a trust thing.
Isn't Selma chatting him up as well now?
No, this is not a chat up. This is not a chat up.
It's actually just Pete.
I'm just coming on to
Something you need to
Roger.
say to
Sorry,
Roger.
guys, to let you... Karina, sorry. No, anyway.
She's not going to watch this.
Should we leave for
She
a
doesn't
minute?
watch this, yeah.
I think I can probably cook.
Or you can let someone that knows what they're doing.
She pulls out a large spike and
Yeah.
long iron thing. She's like, "This is for the fire, for the hearth.
Yeah,
You can sort it, skin it over there,
Yeah.
and sort it
So
out."
skin it, sort it out.
Okay, so you spend a bit of
You're going
time
to roast
yeah.
the whole thing.
doing that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I should
No
definitely,
sausage,
I should
That
definitely
feeds the
take,
village.
I should definitely take some of
For a
it down
while.
to the fisher folk at some point.
If you cook it here,
Yeah.
then I can serve it to them when they come for the meeting.
Then that would be nice.
Thank
Is-
you.
is-
She looks like quite on the verge of maybe a small tear squeezing out of her eye, and she's like, "Thank you."
Just a little damp.
I am not a
You-
man.
Damn,
I am not a man of words. I'm merely a man of deed.
Indeed.
Occasionally I burn stuff.
Yeah, not
That does not bode well for the
Not
venison.
the venison.
Every
Someone
other
is gonna
episode
have to-
apart from this one, but we haven't finished yet, so we'll see what happens.
Someone's going to take over.
I'm gonna
cooking it all day.
So we should go to the smith.
a whole deer.
Romilda,
They'll eat well.
Romilda wanted a word. I think that's probably a good plan.
I meant time-wise. It would take like 12 hours or some shit to like
Wait,
roast
no,
it.
just like chop it up and roast it on the spit and everything. They're coming later, they can eat it whenever. I've never cooked a whole deer before, so I don't know how long it would take, but
It's only a small one.
Pigs take 6 or 8 hours.
Yeah, if they're
No,
not doing
I
it
do.
till later.
it's like 7 in the morning. They're coming
Look, this
for a
is
lunch.
not real.
They're coming-
This isn't real.
I know,
This is not real life.
He's not going to stand there.
It's a really hot fire.
He's not going to stand there and do that. There's a serving boy. That
Urchin.
Yeah.
Give him a
He's getting a gold crown.
Right.
Oh, blimey, mister, thank you. Sorry, all the urchin kids have the Dick Van Dyke Cockney accent.
So a really
just wherever,
bad Cockney
just
accent.
wherever they are.
Not Cockney,
Exactly, Cockney.
Cockney.
They're all
Yeah.
cockney.
Yeah. Call blimey, Mary Poppins. Anyway,
Right, yeah, we should go see the smith.
Okay. I shall
Romilda
come
wanted a word
to.
with us.
as you say that, you hear a tung, 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 like faint, distant from another.
Like she was just waiting for us to say that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Kind of like earlier when we said
Showboating.
Sigmar and
Yeah.
you came in.
Yeah, I agree. It's just in his
That was
casual
real
chain, but he
life.
has got a shield and max on him.
Casual chain.
I shall
Casual
take the
chain.
fawn skin. The fawns, because you
Yep.
need it for leather.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you've got the hide of the
Yeah.
deer.
Yeah.
And all of you are going to the smith. Okay, so you make your way across the short distance.
Did you sleep last night?
Yeah, I was doing okay until I got woken up by people saying like,
Yeah.
people
Do you actually use your mimic skills?
Use your mimic
that?
skill.
Yeah.
Make
Okay.
a roll.
Okay.
Like you're mocking
Okay.
her. Exactly.
Yes.
Basically, I just rolled 14,
So
and I just said word for word exactly
so
what
Alvin,
you said.
not only
but do
word
you
for
say
word, but in your voice.
Do you say it solemnly or like mocking them?
No,
That's what I
like-
want to know.
If
Is it like
it's an echo,
because it's mimic, it has to be done
Then it
the
was
same.
not-
It's exactly, and then I'll just kind of go, and does my shield glow again?
No,
Does it not?
No.
I
no, it
shall-
wasn't glowing.
I know it was.
It was like a
Yeah.
like a faint hum.
I shall mention that to you after I've said what you
What are you
said.
gonna say?
Exactly. I shall mention that that you may notice I've got like a magical shield, right? And when you were saying the words, my shield was kind of, doing stuff. React. That's the one. My shield
Where
was
did you
reacting.
get it?
The shield. I think there was some violence.
Yeah, you're fine.
I think there was some
You're
violence.
fine with Alvin. They're off.
So like the horse.
Was that the underground lair with all the undead in it?
That was the.
No, that was
sword.
the
No.
sword.
Oh no,
Yeah,
this was in the bank vault.
So the
It was
sword
in the vault of the
sword
San
was in the
Savino.
vault.
sword was definitely some violence.
Yeah, it's in the San Savino
Yeah,
vault.
Spear.
You didn't kill anyone for
definitely-
it.
was
The
in the
spear and the
San
shield were in the
Savino
San Savino vault.
Yeah.
Along
Yeah.
with the spear.
Yeah.
It was in a vault of the bad guys that we're going to go up to the castle and kill at some point.
He says, and he seems to point quite pointedly at a particular part of the hill.
The castle. Yeah. So
They've got augers, by the way.
that's okay. I'll just point my spear and go, have they got arms longer than this?
Look at the Baggery will actually look at the length of the spear.
So
With a club in them.
I will take my shield off
Okay.
and say, would you like to have a look at the shield?
I shall take shield.
Okay.
But I'm not necessarily paying that much attention to that right now, because although he's going, oh yeah, things. Did you dream?
No.
Did
Well,
you-
actually, I did, but but that was kind
Already
of more
appropriate
about
to spare
flames
the
and
priest.
warehouses and family and chaos and all that kind of stuff.
Like
Lady Falconberg.
yesterday.
Hey. No.
What was her name?
Hey, I'm not saying it.
Is it Adelina?
I'm not going.
Adelina Falconberg.
I'm not.
Mr. Berg, as he called
Mr.
Mr. Berg.
Mr. Berg.
I wrote a poem.
Okay, he obviously doesn't want to talk about that. I shall inspect the shield.
Okay, so you guys are making a way across to the smithy as there's a couple of young lads who are helping to sort of open it up, get things going, and you can see Romilda in there working away, fashioning some wood and some metal. It looks like some sort of prow of a riverboat that needs to be fixed or something. You're not sure, or made. And she kind of sees you arrive, and she stops and she says, you're here. Oh, nice shield. You're here. Excellent. We should probably go into my quarters to talk. Very well.
Just kind of shrug.
Yeah, she's looking at Bagric when she and she kind of gestures you into it's kind of like her house on the back of the smith, and there's like a dining room is a strong word, but like a
There's
table
a table in it.
has a table and some chairs around it, and she gestures you to sit down, and she brings a plate of cheese onto the table, and some cups of water, or ale, non-alcoholic ale. 0, alcohol-free ale.
It's got a blue label.
Boiled
No,
water. Boiled water.
Boiled water.
Boiled
I was
water.
gonna say, not
And she
alcoholic
puts it down, and she's like, "Look, it's good that you've come. There's a lot going on in town, in the village. I've been sent here to look over the village by the authorities in Knoll. We know that there are activities going on in the area. that seem to be following very simple kind of trade patterns and tariffs that are not above board or are directed towards a particular outcome. Now that I've been here for a while, I understand that the Pfeiffer family are trying to influence what's going on in this area. They're working with some of the families in Nuln, some of the new families, shall we say, to open up hunting grounds near Armedorf. This is a first gesture. They've restricted the area of land upon which this village can forage and forest, which is Pencilwright. They used to hunt those lands, forest those lands, get revenue from those lands, and now they can't. There's a tax in Griswold on any Visenlander fish. The Dunkelberg, I want to say Dunkeldorf, but Dunkelberg sounds like a comedy name. Dunkelberg boats do not stop in the village. And now, suspiciously, the road to Nuln has become dangerous. The one avenue they would have left to them.
It's less dangerous
Well,
now.
yeah, it should be a lot safer now than it was.
And for that, you should be thanked. And, when I can, I will talk to Anselmo about this. But people in this village do not know why I'm really here. I've been here for a while. They trust me. To a certain degree.
So what authority for in Nuln are you? Are you another priest?
No. I'm actually here under the authority of the University College of Engineering because we believe that there is a larger play going on and that the Count Pfeiffer, the head of Griswold, is trying to extend his coverage south and help certain new families. She's very clearly saying new families rather than
Whenever
anything
she
else.
says that, I'm just going to look at Albert.
Yeah. Certain new families gain traction within the city and therefore have favourable trading on certain technologies.
Should have chosen better friends. Their ones may be short-lived.
From what I understand, these friends are willing to do whatever it takes to gain favour. If you were someone who had no respect within the city, but someone outside gave you respect, which maybe those within the city would see as favourable, then maybe you would gain more respect within your own city. We believe this is what they're trying to do. But when a count is involved, it takes more than rumour and hearsay and new family bias to call them out. A count is a serious issue. He could vie for elector count status. It's a long shot, but he could. Their castle, she laughs, their castle on the hill is but a ruin, and they are repairing it quickly.
Fine for elector count status in Reichland seems a bit dodgy. Surely the Emperor would have something to say about that. Isn't he the one?
Look, I know. I agree with what you're saying, but from what I understand, they're pushing to make a case that the Reichland is big enough and powerful enough to be two states. With Altdorf in the north and another city in the south.
And he has the backup of at least one powerful crime family.
Well,
And we know that the Dunkelberg
Not
Baron,
powerful anymore.
a few weeks ago, headed down towards Griswold.
wonder if he knows that they're followers of the ruinous powers as well.
What?
So the new family, the Sansavinos, we have come.
You know it's the Sansavinos.
Oh yeah.
Aye, they're in league with demonologists.
We have killed their sorcerers. We have killed their demons. We have killed their spawn.
I thought this
I'm
was
going to
I
basically
thought this was a trade
I'm
deal.
just going to like
a tax affair.
pick my shield up off the floor and put it on the
I
table.
would suggest.
What else can make that kind of mark on a shield of that quality?
I would suggest
Nothing
that
but
this
a creature of chaos.
that this plague is not a plague, but a plague of chaos.
It seems a bit. What about that priest you were talking about? The new one, the one that's supposed to be a god of
He's
healing.
a fraud.
Father Earhart.
You sure? But explain why he's not
there's
healing
something
anyone.
weird about that guy since he arrived a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago.
He should have burned them.
So what are you going to do? Tell him to piss off, or do you want to shoot him?
What? He might just be a bad priest. Let's not.
If the Reichlanders are making it difficult for the village,
Yes, they
how
are.
would you?
It's not if.
How would you get a Reichlander to be accepted by the village?
You would send them in as someone that they need. Someone that would take mercy on them. I understand fully what you're saying. The fact that he has arrived from Griswold is a concern for me. However, some of the villagers have said that they're dead now. But they said the story was true. That he arrived with some adventurers who were heading to the Grey Mountains, who were looking for an old temple somewhere in the mountains. And apparently that story was true. I don't know.
Just because a story's true doesn't mean his intentions are noble.
I know not.
Either way,
How do we expose him?
Well, you have to. Well,
You know these people better than I.
there's a village meeting this evening, I believe. People are just every day we have a village meeting. People are scared. People are worried. People want to know what we're going to do about it.
I have no wish to crush their hopes, but I would not have them led false.
That makes me fear that your suggestion is extreme.
No, not at all. But the situation is.
I am aware of this.
the villagers we brought back mentioned that this blight came back with hunters. Is that true?
From the woods.
From the woods.
They said they went off into the hunting grounds.
They said they saw some
Their hunting grounds?
monster.
She kind of waggles a finger in a direction, and it's roughly the direction you went.
Right.
They went out on a 3-day excursion
Okay.
into the hills because it's said that there's a herd out there of larger deer, robust animals that would provide good meat stock for the village. And even though that ground has now been agreed between the Elector Count and the Count of Griswold to be a shared hunting ground for diplomatic purposes, we are not allowed there. We are being turned away by their rangers, by their gamekeepers, by their people whenever we encounter them. Occasionally, people get through, they come back, nothing's a problem. So Volkart, or when he was still well, decided that it was worth the risk to send a group of people before everyone got sick, before he was sick, to go and hunt game in a serious fashion. And 10 of our best hunters went out, as they have done for months, years before, into those lands. The story is that they found caves in the Black Hills. And that there was something there, some creatures that they were encountered. All the people who were on that journey have died. There is no one now to corroborate that story. But apparently there were foul creatures in these tunnels.
Sounds like a good place to start.
The people that returned were injured, one more so than the others. And that person his name was Gerald. He had buboes upon his skin.
Well, that sounds like a likely source of the thing. You should go there, find whatever it is, kill it, burn it.
But Bagric,
Within how many days?
and this is the point. This is something that has bothered me since I've heard the story. One does not walk out into a cave and come
No.
back with buboes on their body.
No.
That's chaos.
But it seems that it has spread slowly in the village since that time. These people have slowly been getting ill, as you would with the plague. I have a suspicion that Erhard has something in his shrine that helps him avoid Black Plague. Out of character, Alvin, last episode you correctly identified Earthroot, a liquid
I
that
did.
protects you from Black Plague.
Yes.
So this in your mind...
Was that what we found?
Yeah.
Has that
One of the
lit-
flasks.
Yeah. Then perhaps I should take the Earthroot and go into his temple.
You saying this to her?
Yeah.
You have Earthroot.
Some.
I have Earthroot.
How much?
I'll look
I
at
think it was
Torvald, he had
4.
it.
Was it 3 or 4? One of the two. It was,
You must go see Anselma. Tell her. She will direct you. I would suspect she would ask you to help Volkart first, as they together run the village. But
Does
it is a shame.
Does it prevent the plague, or does it?
Cures
get
it,
rid of it?
and then it helps you for a while it's in your system. As far as I
So,
know.
but it just cure it though.
How long's a round?
6 seconds.
6 seconds.
uh,
Why? What are you thinking?
You got something
Out of character.
Well, depending on how we think that you would contract it, one of my blessings means that you don't have to breathe for a short period of time.
Okay. Make a
So you won't be breathing
heal-
in.
Make a heal roll to see if you can recollect from your discussions with Silas how the Black Plague transfers.
Yeah, it's bad. You can get it from everywhere.
Yeah, don't go near them.
so I have a
Have you got any
quest.
fortune points?
I have 2, apparently, since I've used 1 already
You
today.
can spend one if you want. They come back in the next session, and we're close to the end of this session to get a reroll.
I'll take that as a subtle hint.
Wow, just-
I have a question. I had a
Better. I don't know if it's good enough.
what can I say? Experience that affected me deeply at a Temple of Arena.
For every 2
Um,
rounds, for every
Father
2
Joseph.
success levels,
And,
if it's only on one person, you can
from
increase
that
by
point,
6
um,
rounds.
my
Yeah.
good deeds I do in the name of
Should
Arena.
be like 12.
Well, you are then
Or
just
if
as
it's
many
regular
ones.
person.
So when I went out into the forest this morning and brought back I shall slap
Went
a-
into the hunting grounds.
I shall slap
The skin on.
it
Okay.
on the table.
Yep.
I was not quite greeted with the happy enthusiasm as I expected.
They're scared.
When I mentioned that this deed was done in the name of.
I think if you are talking of Anselma, they were very close to Father Joseph, and I think his passing has affected them more than perhaps the rest of the village. Only in a minor way, because everyone has been greatly hurt by
There
it.
is no temple. I
The
thought
temple
there
was
was a temple.
burnt.
By.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to go and kill him now.
Who the hell burns
She
a
kind of
temple?
laughs like you're joking. Are you actually saying that, or is that out of character?
No.
That's in
I'll
character.
just
he's-
give her
he's
the
not
look
joking.
of.
She takes your hand. Hold. Did you pass?
No, not really.
Okay.
Better, but no, not really.
So
Not sure. You all hear this, that Earhart burnt the Temple of Arena, and you all know that Alvin has given himself over to Arena.
Bagrick's face
And you're all like,
the fuck?
and you're all
Why would
like,
he burn us
we
out?
can imagine what Alvin's going to do.
So should I just take the earth root out? Just take some.
You
keep
don't.
the rest
you
over.
don't have it.
Oh yeah, I don't have it.
No, I've got it.
Because I went.
Yeah.
Looks like something smart people use.
Yeah.
Torvald.
So perhaps that's what we should do. Perhaps maybe when the meeting is called and he is there.
Father Joseph was with plague, and many of his congregation in the
But why burn
Our-
the temple? Why not
Our
make a
point of
fire?
interest was
felt that it was a corrupted site.
Okay.
Earhart felt.
Erhard judged that it was a corrupted site and it needed to be purified
So how about
with
Um,
fire.
was
I thought it was strange for a priest of Shallya to want to
Burn any
purify with
temple.
fire.
so
Especially when
if I take the earth root and then whilst they have the meeting, I will go into the temple with all the Shallya and I shall go and look for the earth root.
Yeah.
And if I find it, I shall bring it back to the.
Okay, so that's later on.
Yeah.
They said the meeting's later on.
perhaps it would be better if someone with a bit more expertise in that kind of field did that rather than you.
I'm happy to do something else like kill things.
I think one of you two is probably more qualified to look into that temple than we are.
Alvin, I may be requiring your apparent expertise in another matter.
Well, you want me to dig stuff up?
Oh no, I can do that.
I'm good at digging stuff up. I don't mind digging. What's wrong with my digging?
You're welcome to help.
Cool.
It's what happens after that.
Okay. Do I get to burn stuff?
Yes.
No, I'm not
Fire.
woohooing. That was. I would not woohoo.
no, I
would
don't
not
worry, we got that.
woohoo.
I think everyone,
Okay, you would.
everyone involved.
No,
Alvin
I
wouldn't.
No, Alvin
Yeah.
wouldn't. I would, but Alvin
Yeah.
wouldn't. Alvin would be like, okay, I'll burn stuff.
Okay, cool. So you guys are going to go and do that?
Yeah.
Or are you going to wait for a little bit?
Well, I was
what
going
were
to
you-
see how this was.
Okay, sure.
So, was Father Joseph one of the first to come down with this plague?
Father Joseph tended to those first who came back from the hunting grounds with the plague, and he contracted it soon after.
Earhart was here at that time?
No.
No.
Earhart came merely a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Losing track of days. He hasn't been here that long. But he has been easing the passage.
Who tended the Shallya shrine before he was in?
It had been sitting as a roadside shrine for a while. There had been no priest, but we had been observing it and praying to Shallya. It's been a hard time for the village, and we've put this up in some way to gain the mercy of Shallya.
It's curious that you should suggest that he's easing their passing. I believe that's precisely what he's doing.
I don't know what else he's doing.
You said earlier he's a
Using
fraud.
this-
What makes you say that?
His behaviour, for a start, this only clarifies it, but also he's left tokens on the graves, and they're false.
Really? I assumed that was. I have very little experience with.
Roadside merchant
Rural
trinkets, no less, no more.
Seriously? Huckster toys.
Seems odd to leave tokens to a goddess of healing over dead people.
Well, I think
It's
that
almost insulting.
now that you say that, I agree. However, I think there was a session in the tavern where he said it was a way to heal after the fact, after they had died, to heal the village. And in their grief, people accepted it.
Which is
What-
why I don't necessarily want to out him at a village committee.
That may not be the best time. to do
Indeed.
it.
So maybe we just steal his earth root. If he's got some.
Assuming it is Earthroot.
Well, if it's not, then.
If he
Hey,
You
finds
know
it
the effect
missing,
of that lasts for like a few days.
Okay.
So he's probably got a little batch of it somewhere,
Yeah.
if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Plus there may be other things in that shrine.
If he finds it missing, he may well panic.
Exactly.
And if he's who we
He took
think
over the shrine when he
might be,
arrived and said that it was, now... to be fair to him, it is small. It is but small as some of the little huts in the village. It's not massive. It's not a place where you gather a congregation. Those are done in the tavern. They were done in the Temple of Arena.
Until he burned it.
With the sick upstairs, gathering the rest of the village into the same place doesn't seem...
And if you're the only one with Earthroot, I see what you're saying now.
Given the Sansevino love of using magic. Magic! He says through gritted teeth. Do you think this could be caused by that? Ruinous powers have been known to use plagues.
I think so.
Torval, do you think that that's perfectly possible?
There's plenty of stories. There's plenty of things written in certain books about such things. Seems perfectly possible.
Romilda says maybe the taxes and the tariffs and the hunting grounds and the squeezing isn't working.
If we don't want him among the
They
people...
need this village emptied.
Maybe Anselmo has stood up to them for too long.
They want this ground. They want the whole thing. They want prying eyes gone. If the boats don't stop here, then no one from the outside world will know what's going on.
But you're here now.
Oh yeah. So I think something will escalate quite quickly.
Yeah.
She looks at you and says, "With you here, no doubt."
Yeah.
Sounds like
You
you're...
did just tell him about the Temple of Arena being
is,
burned. You want to escalate
yeah,
with
it
him,
was.
that's probably
Is,
the best route.
It would
Well,
be
it was.
It would be interesting to know if anyone leaves the town today. Who is the gate guard today?
I agree.
Because if anyone's
well-
left the town today and is heading to the castle,
If
that might suggest
I think Otmar's brother Gerwig is on. Gerwig.
okay. What has gone?
No, he's on
He's on
on
the
the
gate.
gate
Oh yeah,
today.
yeah. Okay. Well, then we should talk to him, because I think if anyone has left and has gone that way, then perhaps that has been a message sent by the priest.
Very well.
What are we going to do about that priest? You can't just leave him running around here. He could be causing more
we
problems.
don't want him to leave either.
Can't just let him have free roam.
It feels like he's managing a situation.
It seems a bit too convenient that the land that they want rid of, as you seem to be saying, wants part to be some other Reichland, is it?
Is there somewhere in the
They're
town
trying to
where we
muscle him
can
out.
keep him safely?
Well, near this gate or the other, there are a few abandoned
Yeah.
homes. You could
Does
potentially.
Does he have a tendency to leave those he's tending anyway? Does he have do people see him
From
leave
time
the
to
village?
time, he
Flits between the houses next to the burned ones and the tavern. Other than that, I've not seen him.
well, from time to time, he goes to the river to wash his hands, cleanse himself, take the healing waters of the river.
But he doesn't leave the enclosure.
Not that I'm aware.
In which case, he's fairly safe to say he's not going anywhere anyway.
Upstream,
we let him
downstream?
be.
Of the
Unless we
fishing-
do something.
When he tends his waters.
Downstream of the tavern, so near the far gate.
So,
You've just reminded me of something.
I think
You
we
hear-
should go
you
have a
hear-
word with him.
From a far room. She's like,
If you
quiet, quiet,
If you don't
quiet.
mind, I've had a thought. Carry on.
There seems to be a cawing, feathery ruckus coming from a back room. And she goes over to a door and opens it up, and you can hear now the sound of several crows in the room, cawing and flapping, and rattling against cages, perhaps. And she goes in and quiet now. Don't worry, you'll all be able to fly soon. One at a time, as you know. And she seems to be talking to these, and she comes back in and shuts the door and says, "Sorry." Yes, my messenger birds. I have to send them back to Nuln on occasion. Some of them haven't made through recently, as far as I can tell, because I haven't had responses to some of my messages. But
I want to go have a word with this priest.
I want to go
Might
and work
not
with
be the
gate
best
guard.
idea, brother. Might not be the best idea.
A lot of them have been looking at me scared. Be interested to see his reaction.
He wasn't that fond of us last night.
Nervous.
Nothing's going to stop you, is there? Well, I can't stop you, and I don't think any of the manlings can, so...
indeed.
Bagrick's going to stand up and walk out.
Okay,
Just don't scare him off.
so you leave the smith's structure. There's a few working lads and girls starting to do a few things, fetching pails of water from the river, buckets of sand being put around, ingots and things sort of dotted around, and she comes out and starts to go off and do some things. You can see that the village is starting to come to life. People are moving around a bit now that it's starting to brighten up very slightly through the overcast clouds. There's still a steady drizzle. The burned half of town sitting there like some kind of oppressive, scary thing. And you can see the little buildings on the edge that are the source of the plague. Over by the tavern, people are moving around, seem to be slightly more animated and slightly more energetic. But the oppressive feeling of Armedorf kind of surrounds you. And you look across the way and you see Father Erhard step out of his shrine. And he sees the cluster of you. He sees the two of you. He sees two dwarfs. And he sees a dude with a spear and a magic shield going, ugh.
No, Bagrick's not stood around. He's just walking at him.
Sure.
Probably have given you a show back.
Oh,
How
I
it
might
is
have
to
said
get, yeah.
And as you head towards him, we shall leave it there.
I was gonna do a thing.
What thing do you want to do?
I had a small curiosity that I
Okay.
wanted to fulfill.
Okay.
I wanted to go down to the river.
Yep.
Is there more than one jetty?
There is. There are 3 jetties. There's one at the
Because
tavern.
I wanted to inspect each of them.
Okay. We'll save that for next time.
Alright.
Okay, cool. So, thank you very much for joining us for episode 5 of Flint and Steel. Very much enjoyed that one. Lots of stuff going on. Guys getting into the story, and it's kind of blossoming out beyond murdering Fimir in a tavern. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to go... Where's my notes? Please don't forget to go and check out our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We're sharing lots of things on there. We also repaired some of the website, so you can go and check out garbladgames.co.uk. Join us on our Discord. There's a link below. We're chatting about lots of fun things on there. Please check out our Patreon. There's also a link below for that. Everyone who supports us helps us make it a bit better for everybody else. From equipment and kit for the actual show, to the books and the gear that we use for all of the games that we play. Everything we get from the Patreon goes straight back into the channel. So thank you everyone who supports us. There's stuff going on there. We've got a new map coming out soon for you guys, the Smuggler's Warehouse. We've got a poll for what D&D show we should run in 2019. There's all kinds of stuff. Go and check that out. There's a link below. Also go and check out our Redbubble. We've got cool mugs. Everyone who's got a mug, please hold it up.
I've got a
We've
mug, but it's not a red
stuff.
bubble one.
No, that's the one I got in Germany.
Hey.
The DC thing. Anyway. There's throw pillows. There's notepads. There's a cool D&D character sheet notepad.
Phone case.
Phone case. All that stuff.
Is that the character? Oh, that looks really cool as well.
I left it in the house. Anyway. We showed it last time. Go.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Last episode. There's the big 2018 subscriber giveaway. Go check that out. There's a link below for that as well.
Make sure
More
you
people to
enter.
subscribe. Do that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, click the little bell button so you get a notification when we do a new video, so you're aware of everything that's going on. Also, for our live shows, you'll get that. So hopefully we'll do more of those on YouTube live. We did one earlier on today, which you should maybe have seen already. So that's cool. Go and check that out. And we're going to be at St Albans Comic Con, 14th of July 2019, in the Auburn Arena in St Albans between 10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. British summertime or
Yeah.
GMT?
British summertime.
British summertime at that point. Anyway, cool. There are all the things, all the announcements, all the stuff. Does anybody have anything else they want to share? No. Thank you very much for joining us on Flint and Steel, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for more of that. Thanks very much for joining us. Bye.